Welcome to our Tune Into Change session. Today we're speaking with Amanda Logie from the Rochester Community House. Tell us a bit about the Rochester Community House and your role there and what sort of initiatives and services that you're running and offering.
So I've been the coordinator at the Rochester Community House for nearly 12 years, being part of a small community and being right in the heart of everything that's going on in that community, which is what we pretty much do here at Rochester Community House. That is, yeah, it's awesome. Lots of fun. So lots of community engagement. We do lots of, well, in a normal year, we do lots of programs, activities, classes, that kind of thing. But then we also run the Rochester Men's Shed, the Rochester Monthly Town Market, the Whole Town Garage Sale, starting a partnership with Rotary in Rochester for the community garden. So yeah, there's lots of things that we do in the community.
It sounds like it's a real hub for community because you're offering so many things like a bit of support, a bit of education, a bit of, community activities and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic.
It's the go-to place.
Right, I love it. And so local organisations like yours are so essential to communities, particularly in rural towns. What benefits do you think the Community House is providing and what are some examples of that from your experience?
Yeah, look, we probably really got thrown into the spotlight back in 2011 with the floods that impacted Rochester. And a lot of people that had never heard of the community house or stepped foot inside the community house soon realised that we did literally become the go-to place. So we were the volunteer organisation for any volunteers that came to town to do any, whether it was corporate volunteering or just volunteering off their own back. And people in the community who hadn't ever accessed Community House had also come to us looking for help and a bit of guidance and that kind of thing. So we really probably got thrown into the spotlight then, and we've just grown and grown and grown. So it was actually only, I think, the week before the floods that we'd had a meeting with the Shire about moving from our existing location to the community hub, which is where the Shire Service Centre and library are located. And it was the best thing we could have ever done because it just opened up the door even more for people to come and see what we do, the things that we run, and just be part of the community as a whole, really.
That's so good because, especially with the library being there, I know in other towns that's like one of the most, publicly visited places in a town. So to have that right next to all the services and things you're offering is a very smart idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got the beautiful Shire Hall, which you've seen before when we've held an event here with you guys. And so, yeah, we've got that venue as well, and it's a one-stop shop now. So it's an integral part of the community. So everyone's really supportive of us.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And so, and based on what I've seen, from for example, that event that we ran last year, that Curious About Climate event, which was great to have be part of your venue, your beautiful hall. I get the sense that you're really good at enlisting volunteers. Why do people get involved there to help out? And are there anything in particular that you do to help nurture those volunteers?
Yeah, look, it's a tricky one because volunteering is, it's a bit of a dying breed, to get volunteers, and a lot of our volunteers are older. Which does create a little bit of an issue, especially, in the current COVID climate that we had earlier in the year, especially when it first all came to head. We had a lot of volunteers who possibly shouldn't have been volunteering because of the age group, and so they were that higher risk. But at the same time, so our only program for COVID, just to probably backstep a little bit, the only program event activity that we were running was our food share program, which was every Tuesday. So it continued all throughout COVID, and I did actually have regular conversations with the volunteers with regard to their health and safety and that kind of thing. But it was a real juggling act, and I think you've just got to listen to your volunteers, because a couple of them said to me during the conversation, please don't take this away from us. It's the only thing we've got at the moment.
Oh, wow.
And so I just went, yep, that's fine. Because at the end of the day, whilst I'm responsible for looking after them, I'm also, part of that is their health and wellbeing and their mental health and wellbeing. And so if I had have said, no, bad luck, and not listened to them, that could have been detrimental to their health and wellbeing. So I think you've just got to really And that's probably one thing that I do really try and do, make sure that I listen to everyone's needs and try and accommodate them. It's not, you're not going to please all of the people all of the time, but I just think you have to be really mindful. And at the end of the day, these people are coming to give you their time for nothing. Their only expectation is that it's something that they want to do. And so for me, I am always very mindful of the fact that, yes, I probably volunteer a lot of my time to, you know, to work as well as the wider community. But at the end of the day, I'm getting paid while I'm here at work, and they're coming in because they want to come in and they want to be part of something. So to me, you just, you know, and we wouldn't survive without our volunteers. So we really have to nurture them and just help them in whatever way we can, because at the end of the day, they're doing us a great, you know, they're being a great help to us. So.
No, that's fantastic. I know when I met some of the volunteers that were helping with the catering at that event, and you just got the sense that they really took a pride in what they did, and it was a really good, I guess, the support structure for themselves, because they're also connected to each other, and that's their contribution to the world, I suppose, which is always going to be a good thing for people wanting to.
And absolutely, because, you know, these, and we probably see it a lot in our men's shed, because they're people that have been active in the community, whether it's through their working life or their, you know, their careers, or whether they're farmers and they've been, you know, primary producers. And so they've been active in the community, and then all of a sudden it's retirement, and it's like, well, what do we do now? And they still want to be connected, but they also still want to do their own thing and not have that commitment, I guess. But yeah, we're flexible. So if they can give us an hour a month, that's great. If they want to come in an hour every day of the week, that's great. So we really have to adapt, and just, as I said, you know, you nurture them and just do whatever you can to support them, because at the end of the day, they're supporting us.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It sounds like a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so good. So obviously, you know, we mentioned the pandemic a little bit, but with that situation, that has caused a lot of stress and uncertainty for people, more hardship, and more people have been socially isolated, and has resulted, like what you alluded to, of services not being able to be run that are essential. Although it was great that you were able to keep the food share, which is essential, of course. So what was it like for you and your organisation during that time? What else did you do to keep supporting and even connecting people over that time?
Yeah, so we thought of a few different things to do, and had a few different conversations with different members in the community, whether it be at the hospital and the doctor's surgery and the chemist and that kind of thing. So a lot of people are always really concerned about privacy. So some of the things were knocked on the head, and some things weren't knocked on the head. And one of the conversations that came up was one of our committee members had seen years ago a display down in Melbourne, I think it was, of these little houses that had been painted by people in the community. And we went, well, you know, we could probably get, even though our men's shed was closed, one of our members, who happened to be our neighbour at home, said, and he was on the committee, I could whip those up. And I said, well, we renovated a few years ago, so I've got a heap of, you know, 4x4 inch veranda posts that I'll just throw over the fence and you can make them into these houses. And so he did, and look, it just took off. So I'm not sure how many houses he's made, but it would certainly be in the hundreds, because we had them. So he just made these little houses that are.
Yeah, I was going to say, what size are they?
So about 4 or 6 inches high. And go to our Facebook page, Rochester Community House Facebook page, you'll see some photos on there. And better still, come for a drive to Rochester, because we've got them on display in one of the empty shops in town. So, but yeah, so he cut out all these little houses. We put out, you know, just some posters around town. And because we were closed, we enlisted one of the real estate agents in town, and they've got the houses in their shop. And so people could just go, get the houses, do whatever they wanted to do. Some were painted, some were decoupage, and just all different things on them. It's been amazing. And so one elderly gentleman who came in to see us and said, and it was before we even put the houses on display, he said, I just thought I might go up to the doctor's surgery and see if they'd like them. And he'd brought in the iPad and he'd taken photos and showed me. I think he'd made maybe about 15 of these houses. And he said to me, and I just went, and this is one of those I love my job moments.
Yes.
He goes to me, you know what? And I said, what's that? And he said, this is what has gotten me through this whole pandemic. He said, I have just gone out into the shed and I've just done, you know, potted around. He said, I've got ones on it that have just got photos of my kids and my grandkids. And so he's got ones that he has kept home for himself, but then he's got one like our painted silos. He's put taken photos of the silos and put pictures of the silos on this house, and just incredible. And when he said that to me, that, you know, this is really what's gotten him through this whole year, I just thought, you know what, I love my job. I love what we do in our community. So yeah, it was really good.
Oh, that's so good. I'm so happy to hear that.
No, it was really awesome.
Fantastic. And it was so good just seeing different communities and the different things that popped up. And what I love about it is that, like, that was your community's response, and other communities have different responses just based on the passions and the skills of the people involved. And I just love that, because it's not like one set way to do anything. It's just how the community comes together and their expression of that, which I just love.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it, like there's houses that are just, I think there's one that's just been painted white and it says "Thanks Men Shed" on it, and so just simple, but just the absolute heart of what we're doing. And it's just, that's it. It doesn't matter whether you do this amazing house or whether you just do. And even some of the people that have brought things in, and I've looked at them and gone, oh wow, I had no idea you were so artistic. And they went, oh yeah, well, we just like to potter around. And it's just, they're incredible. And I just think, we're so fortunate, and you really find little hidden talents. And it's been a wonderful little project. So as I said, feel free to come to Rochester and visit.
Absolutely, look forward to that. Anyone else listening as well. So you talked about some of the things you did during the pandemic and lockdown and everything. Have you seen any positive changes or benefits that have come out of this period, like operationally, or what you're doing now and how you've adapted that might be ongoingly doing things differently as a result of that?
Absolutely. So Zoom meetings, I think, have changed we still love the face-to-face meeting, and it's really good for that networking. But, there might be a day at work where you think, you get to work on the Monday and I've got a meeting Monday, a meeting Tuesday, a meeting Wednesday, and they're all in different towns, and I really can't be out of the office for 3 days for, 3 hours by the time I drive, get to the meeting, do the meeting. Whereas now you can just go, let's just do that by Zoom. You can still do your work and you can do your meeting, and then you can come back to, and do your work. So I think for me, obviously we still want to, as I said, have that face-to-face meeting time. But I think there's also opportunity now that we could, whether it's different groups and organisations, we do that Zoom meeting, whether it be bi-monthly or something. So I think
definitely, it just saves so much more of time that you can be spending on doing some of the real work that you love.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And I understand you've got a project or two you're brewing as we're coming out of this period. So tell us a bit about that and what you're hoping to achieve, and even others to get involved.
So aside from this little program that we've been doing with the Let's Pivot, I've been doing a leadership program through Loddon Mallee Leadership Group and DELP with Adapt to Climate Change. And so I'm doing this little project called Project 3561, Planting for the Planet. And I'm hoping to plant, not me personally, but within our community and with the help of community members, hoping to plant 3,561, which is our postcode, trees and native trees and plants and shrubs in our community. So just doing a lot of the background kind of, that boring work and the planning and the contacting all the stakeholders and that kind of thing at the moment. I was wanting to engage the community a lot earlier, but with COVID, obviously, it was making it a little bit difficult. So been doing all that background work and been getting lots of ideas and assistance and support from different people that I've been networking with, both through this group, which has been awesome. And so, just doing all that planning and that background work. So basically, we probably won't I was hoping to deliver the program next year, but if it's not next year, it'll certainly be the year after. So we just have to make sure we've got the right time of year and that kind of thing for the planting. And
yeah, great.
Yeah, got to also get some funds to pay for the trees. Money
Yeah.
always helps.
And maybe some planting groups might be able to donate some trees. Or
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's just huge. And you
Yeah.
you talk to one person and then you go, wow, my brain's going to explode. And then you have another conversation and think, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's awesome.
I love that idea. That's good. Good luck with that. And if you, always shout out on our Make a Change page if you need anything. And you never know, you might be able to assist, or on a big planting day if you need people.
Yeah, absolutely. Will do. Don't worry.
I look forward to seeing how that evolves. So a lot of our listeners and people who get involved in Make a Change initiatives are working on projects and ideas to make a difference. What's one piece of advice you can give others who are looking to make a change?
Probably just be a sponge. Be like a 5-year-old kid and just take on everyone's comments and ideas and suggestions, because you don't have to use them all. But you might just, one person might say something that you might just plant a seed with you, or just be that wow moment where you just go, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. So yeah, I think just listening to what people have got to say, and as I said, you don't have to take it on board, but just giving, opening up, I guess, your mind, and just having that open mind to go, yeah, all right, yeah, no, that sounds good, or yeah, maybe not for this project, but yeah, so just be a sponge.
I love that, being a sponge. And that's so good, because that actually means, to be a sponge, you actually have to put the word out there about what you're doing as well, for you to be able to take on that advice. And that leads in perfectly to our final session for Let's Pivot next week, which is called Being Heard, and about getting the word out there about what you're doing. And then in as a result of that, you're going to be coming back with all these people giving you thoughts. So I love that advice. Thanks for that. And finally, you've been participating in the Make a Change Let's Pivot program and our Zoom discussion session. So tell us a bit about what you've been getting out for yourself and your organisation, and why do you think others should get involved?
Look, I'm so sad that it's the last week this week. I have really, really enjoyed it. It's been fantastic. It's been one of the things I've really looked forward to every week. And I think the group of people that we've got has been awesome. Everyone's really supportive, and it's just one of the, I don't know whether it's just the group that it is has just really all clicked together or not, or whether because we are sharing that same, we've all got that same vision, and we're all wanting to have that same goal of being part of the community, and we're like-minded. But it's just been awesome, and anyone who's thinking about doing it, do it, please. I've already had the conversation with a few people, and hopefully 2 people that I've spoken to have already signed up, because it's just, as I said, we've been sharing lots of great ideas, and the support has been wonderful. And I think too, because it's relatively local, like there are quite a few people within, central Victoria. And so, just those connections, and knowing that we can have, once the program finishes, have further conversations with those people, and reconnecting too with people. So one of the girls that's doing the program, her and I have reconnected after we worked together with through the Shire a few years ago. So that's been really great too.
Oh, that's so good to hear. Well, thanks for the feedback. I'm so glad about that, because we definitely created it so that it could be a place for people to connect and support each other, because it's not easy when you're trying to, when I've said before, change the world in a night, which is a bit of a silly goal, but, when you're trying to make a difference and put your heart and soul into everything. And we really did want to make sure we created that support structure that people could connect and share, their thoughts and ideas and bounce things off each other. So, it's great to hear.
No, you've definitely done that. You girls have done a fantastic job with the whole program. It's, absolute credit to you. It's been, as I said, I'm really sad that it's the last week this week. So,
Well, as, we've got continued ways that we can keep connected, and we definitely don't want you to be a stranger. So we definitely want to stay connected. So thank you so much for that. We'll really, really appreciate your time, Amanda, and hearing all about the wonderful work that you're doing in Rochester and with your community, and your great words of advice as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
No worries, my pleasure.